Hey everyone, this is Ross Feldman, your host of the IT On Call podcast, and I'm here with Jonathan Brabson of Clym.io. Hey Jonathan, how you doing today?
Doing well. Finally got some good weather out there.
Oh, it's been a beautiful day. I've been out and about between clients, so it's a good day to be out in the wilderness, out in the thick of it. Definitely, Jonathan. Before we get into what we do and what we're going to talk about, let's go to where are you from originally?
Yeah, so I am originally from Knoxville, Tennessee. Go Vols. So for all you fans around here, sorry about that. Went to school at Maryville College, graduated there in 98, ended up here in Charlotte in about 98. Have actually an interesting story because for the past 25 years, I was a collegiate women's soccer coach.
Yes.
And then a couple of years ago, with the changing NCAA landscape, I got out, and now I'm doing SaaS sales, particularly around website compliance. So definitely doesn't match up, but I'm happy to do it.
I think it was a unique turn for you, but you have a really unique skill set, which definitely boded well for that. You and I connected through many mutual connections, and we had coffee and hit it off. And you have a product that you're selling that is a software as a service SaaS offering that has a cost to it for the regular for-profit businesses, but it's really cool that you're offering the product for free for nonprofits. So definitely anybody nonprofit who's watching, definitely check out this product. It's called Clym. And I'm going to have you talk a little bit about it, Jonathan, kind of introduce it to people. We'll do a slide with some stats on it. And then after that, I'll actually show the product installed on my website, bettercallit.com, so everybody can see it in motion. So, yeah, Jonathan, talk about Clym for those who have never heard of it before.
Yeah, so Clym, we're an all-in-one website compliance solution. So we're essentially a widget. We do a couple of different things. One, we handle cookie consent management. The other part is data subject request, website accessibility, and legal storage. Cookie consent management, the best way to describe that to your users are anytime you've gone to a website, and many people tell me this, that you see the banner at the bottom that says accept all, decline all, or they're informing you, they're gathering your information. Most people say, oh my God, that's so annoying. The reason why they have that is because Clym is able to make sure that you are compliant across 100 different jurisdictions. So what is happening? Happened in GDPR in Europe. Europe said that you cannot just take somebody's information and repurpose it, resell it when they visit. And so now it started there, and now there's almost 20 U.S. states that have enacted some form of the consumer data privacy law. So the best way to describe it is sort of like sales tax. For your audience that's from Charlotte, many of those have probably driven down to South Carolina to get gas because it's cheaper. Their sales tax is not as great. And so that's what we sort of do is we make sure through our solution that when a visitor comes to a website, based on their location, Clym is able to identify their location and present them the necessary cookie consent management laws, whether it's opt-in or opt-out. The other part of that, Ross, that gets left are the data subject requests. So the data subject requests are as simple as you fill out a form that says, do not sell or share my information, delete my data. What information do you have on me? There's a whole host of things. That is also jurisdiction specific. Sounds like a lot. It sounds taxing, but with Clym, we've done a fantastic job of just simplifying compliance. So with one JavaScript code, you can be up and running in I can do it in less than 30 minutes. And you guys all know that I'm a women's soccer background. Anybody with technical expertise can install Clym in less than 5 minutes. And you are now meeting all the necessary jurisdiction laws worldwide. I think the other part, Ross, that what Clym does within our solution, this is an all-in-one solution, is provide a website accessibility fee. Now, I want to be clear about website accessibility. Website accessibility falls under WCAG standpoint, which is Web Consent Accessibility Guidelines. Those guidelines are vague. They're vague. And so what they want you to do is make sure that you're working towards being perceivable, operable, understandable, and robust. What does that mean? A lot of what they want to see as well is the back end. Do you have the necessary alt text? Are your links describable? What's the color contrast? Different tools from the back end. What Clym does is we look to help provide an additional solution for your website. Think about individuals with invisible disabilities. Anybody with ADHD, dyslexia, colorblind. I'm pushing 50 and my eyes are just getting bad. I just need it larger. And so what Clym does is Clym allows the end user to have a better user experience based on their invisible disability. And what we want to make sure is that websites, especially nonprofits, don't minimize the friction that their website might cause unintentionally. And so through our solution, the individual can just have a greater user experience.
Like, I have an invisible disability. I have dyslexia. I know people who have colorblind, and it's amazing how many interfaces in the technology world for colorblind are red, yellow, green circles for indicating statuses of things. And for the colorblind, those circles all look gray. You have to do a triangle, square, rectangle for your three icons so that the colorblind can see them. And programming that in is never the priority when someone is building something from the ground up and then they're doing their MVP, their minimum viable product. And so by adding an add-in on top that converts the product, you don't have to do more programming and more work. So this is saving programming hours. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And then when I share my screen, I'm going to show my website, which is bettercallit.com, and I'm going to show the Clym interface is installed. It's a WordPress website. It's code that's added in the header. It loads when the website loads, and it puts this little accessibility icon here at the bottom left of my website. And that accessibility icon is the Clym interface. And the Clym interface has all these capabilities. I love that it's branded and it matches my website and it looks smooth and connected. And it allows me to be able to do content adjustments, change that font size that you were talking about. And here's my dyslexia-friendly reading so that I can be able to read long paragraphs without getting distracted or lose my place. And these are all just layered on top of the website and very clear to be able to help those who are in need, which is, I think, super awesome.
Yeah. And Ross, I think something too that sometimes gets lost, and again, unintentional. When I tell people about this, they sometimes people have this shame about them. It's unintentional. We're just a step in the process towards greater digital accessibility. You know, we have some really cool tools coming out that's going to help close the loop to allow an open source opportunity to where when we scan your site or when you scan your site through Clym, we'll have tools that will allow you to fix the code on the back end so that now you're more adaptable for individuals with screen readers. But you mentioned earlier about more programming time. More programming time costs money. And one of the things that I've found by working with nonprofits is that money is not exactly readily available. And so how they can get there, money is a factor. And so with Clym and just our costs, we're not going to mention nonprofits, it's a step. It's a step that you're showing that you want to be more accessible. You want to be more transparent through the consumer data privacy laws as well. So I think that's important to mention to your viewers.
You want to talk to your legal counsel about opening yourself up to legal litigation that you're not compliant. You don't want that lawsuit. And you want to open it up to new audiences. The blind are still surfing the web. Even though they can't see the web, they can hear the web. Does your website translate well to the blind? And you're opening up to new customers that you weren't opening up to before. And it's a very, in the grand scheme of things, Clym isn't that expensive if you're really looking at the audience that you're bringing in and the litigation law that you're trying to keep yourself from lawsuits. So there's a cost to it for for-profit companies, but I think it's necessary cost of doing business. Do you want to pull up the slides after your point, John? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, and yeah, we can go and pull the slide up right here.
Yeah.
Let's see here. There we go. And so, like I talked about, web content accessibility guidelines. There's 3 different standards: A, AA, and AAA. Now, I want everybody to understand that being fully compliant is I'm not going to say it's an impossible task, but most companies are not able to do so. That requires constant updates, constantly shutting your website. It's a big task. Usually what they say is if you can be in the AA range, you're safe. So that's WCAG from that standpoint. There's some key principles that I talked about: perceivable, operable, understandable, and robust. But the thing I want to really get to are just some common mistakes. Just some simple mistakes that most people aren't aware of, like missing alt text for images. That now allows the visually impaired, especially those that have screen readers, to just understand what texts provide. So example, if it's a blue Mustang, then it will describe what it is to them. Insufficient color contrast, putting gray on a white background, lack of keyboard navigation. So you can see some things here that are common mistakes. And this is from your end, ways to fix it. Ways to fix it, just so that, again, it's the necessary steps so that you are being branded as a company that understands there's visitors that just need assistance. I think the thing, Ross, that's really important are stats. Here's why it matters. 26% of Americans live with some form of disability. And so if you think about that and the people that visiting your website, that's a very high number, and there's stickiness involved in that. As a nonprofit, 79% of those users will search for another site if they encounter usability issues. What type of donations, volunteers could you be missing out on? I mentioned donation boosts. People with disabilities support companies that recognize disabilities. 50% of people with disabilities will stay onto your site and donate. The spending power. I think this is important, Ross. $1 trillion. I'd love to know how many of your users would love to have 0.01% of that for their business, whether it's for-profit or nonprofit. We mentioned just trust and loyalty. And nowadays, you never know where your things are going. Do you believe that the company, the domain that you visit is going to take care of your information? And then as a nonprofit, most nonprofits have a social mission. We help align with that to make sure that you have a greater reach. And again, I talked about the Clym for Good program, and we'll come back to that, Ross. So if you want to stop sharing your screen, but we'll come back to that a little bit more. But here's that.
Sounds good. Absolutely. Yeah. And that's the thing, is that you really want to open up your audience. And nonprofits serve in a community with their mission. You want to deliver that mission to more individuals. I work with several nonprofits that were trying to get the Clym added to their website, and not everybody uses WordPress. Some people use GoDaddy. Some people use Wix or Squarespace. And the cool thing about JavaScript code is that can be added to almost any website universally. So it's really cool. This add-in is actually capable to be added into pretty much any website platform. So we want to test its limits, get some more websites out there. Absolutely.
Yes. I think it's we just want this on. We want people to have a greater user experience. That's what it's all about for us. And again, we're not going to make claims that everything is going to check the boxes, but it's just steps. I personally like to say that it's better than what you had. whether you've rebuilt the site and it meets WCAG AAA standards, there's just things that we can provide that most people aren't going to build. And you mentioned, Ross, the dyslexia.
Yeah, and that's the thing is dyslexia, ADHD, low vision. I was just working with a client this morning that had her iPhone up to the maximum resolution. It fit about 2 words on the screen. It was so zoomed in, and it was just like, all right, we've got to scroll. We'll be able to get to the bottom of what we're looking at. But some people do suffer with low vision, and it's at all age ranges. I saw an ABC News report that there was a basketball game, and there was a child there. He was 8 years old who had low vision and couldn't watch the game. And they had an interactive tablet that they had invented that had bumps in it so that he can actually feel the game happening while he's at the game, which I thought was so super powerful. And I was part of an accessibility tribe community testing out some head. For those who don't have any arm movement and need to type on the computer, they can do it audibly, or they can use a head laser that actually they point to a keyboard what they look at, and they're able to type that way. So there's some really cool accessible technology that's out there that just, opens up what I deal with every day to a larger community.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So
definitely. So I think one of those things is that we want to get the technology out there to the nonprofits, and the Clym for Good program. Did you want to talk more about that? Let me get you pulled up.
Yeah. So this is the part where, we're just trying to help those with, again, most nonprofits, what we understand is, and what I'll do is move this along, is we want to help those nonprofits that don't have all hands on deck, essentially. One of the things that we've noticed is our focus are the nonprofits that have less than 10 employees. Because when we mention what we do, it sounds like a daunting task. It really isn't. So we want to, again, help assist you. So through our Clym for Good program, we want to provide a complimentary solution for nonprofits. That's what it comes down to. Installation assistance is included as well. Those are the 2 big points with that, Ross, is for nonprofits. And so I'd love to hear from those nonprofits who might fit into that category. Nonprofits that are listening, do you fit into that category? Does that include, is that you with less than 10 full-time staff members?
Definitely.
Yeah. And the other great thing is, too, if you're unaware, scan the code. We have a complimentary compliance scanner that just gives you an idea of where you could be deficient. Where are those potential gaps, not only with website accessibility, but also consumer data privacy, as we mentioned earlier in the program.
For sure. And that's the thing is that, you're Charlotte-based, I'm Charlotte-based. There's easily 1,500 to 2,000 nonprofits just in Charlotte. But the cool thing about the connected world that we're in is that those who are outside the Charlotte area, share this presentation, share this link with others. If you have nonprofits, tag them in the comments. It's one of those that we have to get the word out there and get more sites accessible and compliant and capable of having these features that are out there. Jonathan, it's one of those things with this podcast is that I really try to make it bite-sized and helpful, and we're really concise today, and I think got the point across. If people have more questions and want to find out more about Clym and want to contact you, what's the best way for them to reach out to you?
Best way is to go to Clym, www.clym.io, and through that, just as simple as book a meeting. That comes through to me, and we'd just love to hear from you. Even if you're just confused about what all this means, I'm happy to talk through it, kind of share kind of why Clym is doing what they're doing. One of the things that I think I'm fortunate with this company is to have a company that sees the bigger picture. And again, the bigger picture is to make sure that more people have the ability to see the websites, an easier, again, I'm not gonna say easy, because again, we all don't live in certain people's shoes, but can we just make it easier and create more opportunities for nonprofits to get their mission out there?
Absolutely. And Climb for Good is a great program. I'm glad you guys started it. If you guys need a four-legged meeting, if you need both Jonathan and myself, my schedule is bookable. You go to scheduleross.com and you can book my calendar directly, and we can definitely chat and talk about the website and accessibility and capabilities, or just your general technology. If technology is your headache, Better Call IT can be your Advil. Jonathan, thank you so much for the time today, and I hope you have a great one.
Right. Thank you. I appreciate it, Ross. Take care, my friend.
Sounds good.
All right. Bye.